My husband slept with my twin sister on our wedding night. My entire marriage was a bet between them. They are planning to eliminate me as I found out a contract against me. I'm scared. My name is Elena, and 3 days ago I found a folder on my husband Marcus's laptop that changed everything. I'm sitting in a motel room right now, the kind with stained carpets and a flickering neon sign outside. My hands won't stop shaking. I haven't slept in 72 hours. Let me back up. I've been married to Marcus for 2 years. We got married in this beautiful ceremony in Napa Valley. My twin sister Rachel was my maid of honor. She wore champagne silk and cried during my vows. I remember thinking how lucky I was to have both of them in my life. That night after the wedding, Marcus said he needed to check on something with the venue coordinator. Some issue with the final payment. He was gone for 2 hours. When he came back, he smelled like perfume. Not my perfume. Rachel's perfume. This specific Tom Ford scent she always wore. I asked him about it. He laughed and said Rachel had hugged him goodbye and thanked him for treating me well. I believed him because why wouldn't I? This was my husband. My twin sister. The two people I trusted most in the world. Fast forward to last Tuesday. Marcus left his laptop open when he went to take a shower. He never does that. He's always been weird about his devices, but I figured it was just a work thing. He's in finance and always talking about confidential client information. I wasn't trying to snoop. I swear I wasn't. But a message popped up on his screen from Rachel. Can't believe it's been 2 years already. When are we going to tell her? This is getting harder. My stomach dropped. I clicked on their message thread before I could stop myself. The messages went back years, before Marcus and I even started dating. There was a message from 4 years ago that made me physically sick. Rachel, I bet you can't get her to fall in love with you in 6 months. Marcus, how much? Rachel, 50,000. But you have to marry her and stay married for at least 2 years. Marcus, you're insane. That's your twin sister. Rachel, that's what makes it interesting. Come on, Marcus. You know you want to. She's been annoying me since we were born. Always perfect, Elena. Always getting everything first. I want to see her face when she realizes her entire marriage was fake. Marcus, what do I get besides the money? Rachel, me, whenever you want, however you want. I couldn't breathe. I scrolled through years of messages, pictures, videos. My wedding night, Marcus hadn't been dealing with the venue coordinator. He'd been in Rachel's hotel room. There were photos, timestamps. While I was waiting for my husband on our wedding night, he was with my sister. But it got worse. I kept scrolling and found a folder labeled insurance. Inside were documents, contract documents, with a name I didn't recognize at first. Robert Vance, background check information, payment schedules. And then I saw it, a detailed plan, dates, locations, methods that made my blood run cold. They were planning to make me disappear, to make it look like an accident. Marcus would get my life insurance policy, $500,000. Rachel would get the satisfaction of winning, and they'd get each other. The plan was set for next month, November 15th, my birthday. I took pictures of everything with my phone, every message, every document, every photo. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely hold the phone steady. Then I heard the shower turn off. I closed the laptop and ran to the bedroom. I pretended to be looking at my own phone when Marcus came out. He was smiling. That same smile I'd fallen in love with 3 years ago. The smile I thought was genuine. Hey, beautiful, he said. Want to grab dinner tonight? That Italian place you love? I looked at him and felt nothing but disgust, but I smiled back. Sure, sounds perfect. I needed time. Time to think. Time to figure out what to do. That night at dinner, I watched him. Really watched him. The way he touched my hand across the table. The way he laughed at my jokes. It was all so perfectly performed. How had I never noticed? How had I been so blind? My phone buzzed. A text from Rachel. Lunch tomorrow? Miss you, sis. Sis. She called me sis while planning to eliminate me. I texted back. Yes, can't wait. I was going to play their game, but I was going to win. The next morning, I told Marcus I had a work emergency. I'm a graphic designer and work from home, so it was easy to fake. As soon as he left for the office, I packed a bag. Not everything. Just enough that it wouldn't be obvious. Some clothes, my laptop, my documents, the USB drive where I'd backed up all the evidence. I took the emergency cash we kept in the house. $3,000. Then I took Marcus's emergency cash he thought I didn't know about. Another $5,000. I drove to a bank across town and opened a new account, transferred half of my savings into it. Then I went to see a lawyer. Her name was Patricia Chen. She was recommended by a colleague who'd gone through a messy separation. I showed her everything. Patricia's face went white as she looked through the evidence. Elena, she said, this is beyond divorce territory. This is criminal. You need to go to the police. I know, I said, but I need to be smart about this. If I go to the police now, what if they can't prove the contract is real? What if Marcus and Rachel claim the messages are fake? They're smart. They'll have covered their tracks. Patricia nodded slowly. What do you want to do? I want to gather more evidence. I want to catch them in the act. And I want to make sure they can never hurt anyone else again. She gave me the number of a private investigator, David Morrison, former cop, specialized in infidelity and fraud cases. I met David that afternoon at a coffee shop downtown. He was in his 50s, graying hair, sharp eyes that missed nothing. I showed him everything. This is heavy, he said. Your sister and your husband. And they're planning to... He didn't finish the sentence. How are you holding up? I'm angry, I said. I'm terrified. But mostly I'm angry. Good, David said. Anger is useful. Fear will keep you careful. We can work with both. He asked me questions about Marcus's routine, Rachel's habits, their patterns, where they met, how often they communicated. They're careful, I said. They use encrypted apps mostly, but Marcus gets sloppy sometimes. That's how I found the messages. David nodded. I'm going to need you to do something difficult. I need you to act normal. Go home. Pretend everything is fine. Can you do that? I thought about it. Could I sleep next to a man who was planning to end my life? Could I hug my sister knowing she'd been sleeping with my husband since before we were even married? Yes, I said. I can do that. I'm going to put surveillance on both of them, David said. Cameras, audio, I'll track their movements, and I'm going to look into this Robert Vance character. Find out who he is and what he knows. We set up a system. Encrypted emails, burner phones, drop locations for evidence. I was living in a spy movie, except this was my actual life. I went home that night and cooked dinner, Marcus's favorite. Steak with garlic butter and roasted vegetables. He came home late. Sorry, babe, he said, kissing my cheek. Crazy day at work. I wondered if he'd been with Rachel. No problem, I said. Dinner's ready. We ate and talked about nothing. His work, my projects. Plans for Thanksgiving next month. Normal couple stuff. All while I knew he was counting down the days until November 15th. After dinner, my phone rang. Rachel. Hey, she said, all cheerful. Want to grab that lunch tomorrow? I found this new place in Soma. Definitely, I said. Marcus was watching me from the couch. I made sure to smile. Can't wait to catch up. Miss you, Rachel said. Miss you too. I hung up and felt Marcus's eyes on me. Everything okay with Rachel? He asked. Yeah, why? No reason. You two have always been close. Close. Right. So close she'd been sleeping with my husband. So close she'd bet $50,000 she could destroy my life. That night, I lay in bed next to Marcus. He fell asleep quickly like he always did. His arm was around me. I stared at the ceiling and planned. The next morning, I met Rachel at the restaurant she'd picked. It was trendy, expensive, the kind of place she loved and I tolerated. She hugged me when I arrived, tight, like she actually loved me. You look tired, she said as we sat down. Everything okay? Just work stress, I said. You know how it is. We ordered food, made small talk. She told me about her job at the tech startup, some drama with her boss, a guy she was casually seeing. I wondered if the guy was Marcus, if she was sitting across from me lying about seeing my husband. How are things with Marcus? She asked. My heart stopped, but I kept my face neutral. Great, really great. Actually, we've been talking about starting a family soon. Rachel's fork clattered against her plate. Really? Wow, that's big. Yeah, I said, watching her face. Marcus has been bringing it up a lot lately. He wants kids. Maybe 2 or 3. I was lying. We'd never talked about kids seriously, but I wanted to see her reaction. She recovered quickly, smiled. That's amazing, Elena. You'll be such a great mom. But I saw it, the flash of panic in her eyes, the way her jaw tightened. Having my baby would complicate their plan, make things messier. Good. My phone buzzed. A text from David. Got something? Meet me at the usual spot. 3 p.m. I finished lunch with Rachel, hugged her goodbye, told her I loved her. She said it back. I met David at the coffee shop at 3. He slid a folder across the table to me. Robert Vance, he said. Real name Roberto Vasquez. He's got a record, assault, weapons charges, did time in San Quentin, got out 2 years ago. How did Marcus find him? Through a guy at his firm. Apparently Marcus's company has some clients with questionable connections. He asked around. David showed me surveillance photos. Marcus meeting with Roberto at a bar in Oakland. Money changing hands, documents being exchanged. There's more, David said. I tracked Rachel's movements yesterday. She met with Roberto too, at a parking garage downtown. He showed me more photos, Rachel handing Roberto an envelope. They were both in on it, both actively participating. We have enough to go to the police, David said. This is conspiracy. Attempted murder. We can— Not yet, I said. I want more. David looked at me carefully. Elena, this is dangerous. These people are planning to harm you. The longer you wait— I know, I said, but I need them to incriminate themselves more. I need evidence that's so airtight they can't talk their way out of it. I need to destroy them completely. David was quiet for a moment. Then he nodded. Okay, but we do this my way. I'm putting a tracker on your car. You wear a wire whenever you're with either of them, and you check in with me every 4 hours. If I don't hear from you, I'm calling the police immediately. Deal. Over the next 2 weeks, I lived a double life. During the day, I was perfect wife Elena. I cooked. I cleaned. I made love to my husband even though it made my skin crawl. I smiled and laughed and pretended everything was normal. At night, I met with David. We reviewed footage. Audio recordings. Built an airtight case. Marcus got sloppy. He started making calls on his regular phone, talking to Roberto about the plan, about the timeline, about how it needed to look natural. Rachel got sloppy too. She called Marcus from the office. David recorded everything. They talked about what they'd do with my life insurance money, a trip to Bali, a house in Sonoma, how they'd wait a respectful 6 months before going public with their relationship. I listened to these recordings in David's office and felt something shift inside me. The fear started to fade. The anger crystallized into something harder. Determination. They're meeting tomorrow night, David said one evening. All 3 of them. Marcus, Rachel, and Roberto. At a warehouse in Richmond. I think they're finalizing the plan. I want to be there, I said. Absolutely not. Elena, I need to hear it myself. I need to record them all together. Planning it. I need evidence that's undeniable. David argued with me for an hour, but I wouldn't budge. Finally, he agreed. But only if I wore a wire. Only if I stayed in his van. Only if I promised to run at the first sign of danger. The next night, I told Marcus I was having dinner with an old college friend. He barely looked up from his phone when I left. David picked me up 3 blocks from my house. We drove to Richmond. The warehouse was in an industrial area. Empty at night. Perfect for a clandestine meeting. David parked the van where we could see the entrance. He fitted me with a wire. A tiny microphone hidden in my jacket. A camera and a button. You stay in this van, he said. Do not get out. Do not approach them. We're just here to record. Understand? I understand. We waited. At 8:30, Marcus's car pulled up. He got out. Looked around. Nervous. 10 minutes later, Rachel arrived. She was wearing all black, like she was heading to a funeral. The irony wasn't lost on me. They went inside together. 20 minutes after that, a motorcycle pulled up. Roberto. Big guy. Tattoos covering his arms. He went inside too. I'm going to get closer, David said. Boost the audio signal. Stay here. He got out and moved toward the warehouse. Crouched behind a dumpster. Aimed a parabolic microphone at the building. The audio came through on speakers in the van. At first it was muffled. Then it cleared. Marcus's voice. So we're all clear on the plan? Roberto's voice. November 15th. She goes hiking like she does every year on her birthday. I'll be waiting on the trail. Make it look like she slipped and fell. Hit her head on the rocks. Tragic accident. Rachel's voice. And you're sure it'll look natural? Roberto. I've done this before. Trust me. No one will suspect anything. My hands clenched into fists, hearing them discuss ending my life so casually, like they were planning a dinner party. Marcus. And the money? Roberto. Half now. Half when it's done. That's the deal. Rachel. What about her body? How long until? Roberto. Search and rescue will find her within a day or 2. Long enough that any evidence is compromised. But not so long it looks suspicious. I was crying. Silent tears streaming down my face. David came back to the van and saw me. He squeezed my shoulder. We got it all, he said quietly. Every word. We have them. The meeting lasted another 10 minutes. They finalized details. Payment schedules, alibis. Marcus would be at work. Rachel would be at her apartment, both with proof they were nowhere near the hiking trail. They left separately. Marcus first, then Rachel. Roberto last. David drove me back to where he'd picked me up. We go to the police tomorrow, he said. First thing. With everything we have, I nodded. I couldn't speak. I went home. Marcus was on the couch watching TV. How was dinner? He asked. Good, I managed. Really good. I went to the bedroom, locked myself in the bathroom, and finally let myself break down. I sobbed into a towel so he wouldn't hear, but after 15 minutes, I stopped crying. I washed my face. Looked at myself in the mirror. These people weren't going to win. I wasn't going to be their victim. The next morning, I went to the police. David came with me. We brought everything. The messages, the recordings, the surveillance footage. The evidence of the contract with Roberto. Detective Lisa Martinez took my statement. She was in her 40s. Kind eyes, but tough. She listened to everything and and her expression got harder and harder. Ms. Chen, she said when I finished, we're going to arrest all three of them today. Marcus Porter, Rachel Chen, and Roberto Vasquez. We have enough here for conspiracy charges, solicitation, attempted murder. What do? I asked. You go somewhere safe. Stay with a friend, family, anyone except these people. We'll execute the warrants this afternoon, but I had a better idea. Actually, I said, I want to be there when you arrest Marcus. Detective Martinez looked at me. Are you sure? I'm sure. That afternoon I went home. Marcus was already there. He'd left work early for some reason. He was in his office when I walked in. Hey babe, he called out. You're home early. Yeah, I said. Finished my project ahead of schedule. I made us drinks. Whiskey on the rocks, his favorite. Handed him one. To us, I said. He smiled, clinked his glass against mine. To us. The doorbell rang. Marcus frowned. You expecting someone? Yeah, I said. Actually, I am. I opened the door. Detective Martinez was there with 4 other officers. Marcus Porter, she said. Marcus came to the door, confused. Yes? You're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder and solicitation. The look on his face, the shock, the fear, the realization. It was the most satisfying thing I'd ever seen. They handcuffed him. Read him his rights. He was yelling. Elena, what is this? What's happening? I looked him in the eyes. I know everything, Marcus. The bet, the affair, the plan, all of it. His face went white. They took him away. Rachel was arrested at her office. Roberto at his apartment. All 3 were denied bail. Flight risks. Danger to the community. The trial took 8 months. It was brutal. Every detail of their betrayal became public. The media had a field day. Twin sister betrayal. Husband's deadly bet. The headlines were everywhere. My parents were devastated. They'd always favored Rachel growing up. She was the outgoing one, the fun one. I was the quiet one, the boring one. Now they had to face what their golden child had done. Marcus's family disowned him. His mother actually reached out to apologize to me. She cried on the phone, said she'd never raised him to be like this. The trial was in June. The evidence was overwhelming. The messages, the recordings, the payment to Roberto, their own voices discussing how to stage my accident. The jury deliberated for 3 hours, guilty on all counts. Marcus got 25 years. Rachel got 20 years. Roberto got 30. I sat in that courtroom and watched them get sentenced. Rachel cried, begged for mercy, said she was sorry, that she'd made a terrible mistake. Marcus just stared at me, cold, empty. I felt nothing for either of them. After the trial, I moved to Portland, started over, new city, new name, new life. But before I left, I did one more thing. I visited Rachel in prison. She looked terrible. Orange jumpsuit, no makeup. Her hair was cut short. She'd aged 10 years in 8 months. Why are you here? She asked when she sat down across from me. I wanted to ask you something, I said. Why? Why did you hate me so much? Rachel laughed, bitter. You really don't know? No, I don't. Because everyone loved you more, she said. Even though we were twins. Even though we were supposed to be equal. You were always the better one. Mom and dad, our teachers, everyone. You got better grades. You were more responsible, more mature. I was just the other twin, the lesser twin. So you decided to destroy my life? I wanted you to feel what I felt, she said. I wanted you to know what it's like to lose everything. You didn't take anything from me, I said. You revealed who you really were. And you revealed who Marcus really was. You actually did me a favor. Rachel's eyes filled with tears. I'm sorry. Elena, I'm so sorry. I was wrong. I was jealous and stupid and I don't forgive you, I said, standing up. And I never will. You made your choice. Now you get to live with it for the next 20 years. I walked out and never looked back. That was 3 years ago. Today, I'm sitting in my apartment in Portland. It's raining. It's always raining here, but I love it. I changed my name to Claire Anderson. New identity. Fresh start. I'm a freelance designer now. I work from home. I have a cat named Luna. I have friends who don't know about my past. I date sometimes. Nothing serious. I'm not ready for serious, but I'm happy. Actually happy. For the first time in years. Last week I got a letter from Rachel. She's appealing her sentence. She wants me to write a letter to the judge, ask for leniency, tell them she's changed. I read the letter once. Then I threw it in the trash. Some people think I should have forgiven her. She's my twin sister, my blood. Some people think I was too harsh, too cold, but those people weren't the ones who found the contract on their husband's laptop. They weren't the ones who listened to their sister and their husband casually discuss the best way to stage their accident. They weren't the ones who realized their entire marriage was a $50,000 bet. I learned something important through all of this. Blood doesn't mean loyalty. Love doesn't guarantee honesty. And sometimes the people who are supposed to protect you are the ones you need protection from. I also learned that I'm stronger than I thought, that I could face the worst betrayal imaginable and not just survive, but actually come out better on the other side. Marcus sends letters sometimes too, from prison. They go straight to the trash unopened. I don't need his excuses. I don't need his apologies. David and I still talk occasionally. He checks in, makes sure I'm doing okay. He's become a friend. The kind you don't see often but know is always there if you need him. Detective Martinez reached out last year. Apparently Marcus tried to hire someone from inside prison to finish the job. He's in solitary now. They added another 15 years to his sentence. Rachel's parole hearing is in 17 years. She'll be 51. I'll be 51. Maybe by then I'll feel something for her other than indifference. But I doubt it. My therapist asks me if I regret how I handled things. If I wish I'd just divorced Marcus and walked away. Avoided the whole mess. I don't. Because they needed to face consequences. They needed to pay for what they tried to do. Not just to me, but to the next person. Because there would have been a next person. People like Marcus and Rachel don't stop. They don't change. Sometimes late at night, I think about that moment when I opened Marcus's laptop. That moment when my whole world shifted. When I realized nothing was what I thought it was. And I'm grateful. Not for the betrayal. Not for the pain, but for the truth. Because I'd rather live with a painful truth than a beautiful lie. I'd rather be alone and authentic than coupled and deceived. I'd rather know exactly who I am and what I'm worth than believe someone who sees me as a bet. I'm 35 now. I have my whole life ahead of me. I have possibilities. Real possibilities. Based on real connections with people who actually care about me. Marcus is in a cell. Rachel is in a cell. Roberto is in a cell. And I'm free. Last month, I went hiking on my birthday. November 15th, the same day they'd planned to end my life. I hiked to the top of a mountain outside Portland. Stood at the summit. Looked out over the city and the forests and the rivers below. I thought about what they'd stolen from me. My trust, my innocence. My belief that people were fundamentally good. But I also thought about what they'd given me. Clarity, strength, the knowledge that I could face the absolute worst and come out intact. The sun was setting. Orange and pink painting the sky. I took out my phone and took a picture. Posted it to my my new Instagram account, the one they don't know about, with my new name and my new life. The caption was simple: still standing, because I'm still standing, and they're not. That's the story. That's how my husband and my twin sister tried to end me, and how instead they ended themselves. People ask me if I believe in karma, if I think the universe has a sense of justice. I don't know about all that, but I do know this: the best revenge isn't violence or cruelty or even forgiveness. The best revenge is living well. It's building a life so good, so authentic, so true, that the people who tried to destroy you become irrelevant. Marcus and Rachel thought they were so clever, thought they'd planned everything perfectly, thought I'd never find out, but they underestimated me. They saw me as weak, as trusting, as easy to manipulate. They were wrong, and now they have 20 to 25 years to think about exactly how wrong they were. Me? I have a date tonight with a guy I met at a coffee shop. His name is Ben. He's a teacher. He seems kind, real. Will it go anywhere? Maybe, maybe not, but I'm open to it. Open to the possibility. Open to trying again, because Marcus and Rachel don't get to ruin love for me. They don't get to make me cynical or bitter or closed off. They tried to take everything, but they failed. I'm here. I'm alive. I'm happy, and that's the ending they never saw coming.